Hello guys, Luton here. Welcome back to some more Battlefield discussion gameplay. So today I've got a couple of topics on mind, but first of all, what's going on? Well, I have had this setup basically for my PC which enables me to record different sorts of audio when I have people on there to live comm. So if I'm having discussions, if I have people talking on either TeamSpeak or over voice over network in game, I can record that. But I also have it set up via virtual audio cable, so that just with a script that we've got set up, I can double click that and immediately I can cut all of that out, but I can still hear it through my headset at the same time. So it's a really good setup, allows me to get the exact recordings that I want to. However, today when I was recording, I had enabled a script, but I just had not either sort of double checked etc. before I started recording, and there was just some bug, which meant I didn't actually get any audio with the video today, so it was a little bit of a technical glitch, but luckily it was only like an hour or so's gameplay. It was not something catastrophic or anything like that. I didn't get like the best games that I've ever played in my life, so it wasn't a disaster. So instead we've got this classic Doom track. If you've never heard this, then you obviously haven't been playing games long enough. So and it's the ideal kind of piece of music to play with this kind of Gunmaster game mode. So anyway, what are we thinking about today? Well, I've got a couple of topics. One is game modes. Now obviously we're going forward into Battlefield 4, there's going to be a lot of DLCs, a lot of expansions, Premium no doubt will be making a return. It would be astonishing to see if that didn't come back again. And so I've been, as you guys know, I've been having a hard time basically finding any reasonable games. I tried playing a load of games today. I had a couple of games that were actually not too bad, but I also had some games, well, I would say the majority of the games I played sucked. Now, as I discussed on another video the other day, for sure I feel frustrated by this. I'm just like, oh man. But then on the other hand, I do feel it's very much down to sort of the timing that we're playing and etc. But also, it brings me on to something else, which I'll talk about in a mo. But anyway, let's go back to game modes first of all. So I was playing Gunmaster here because this was the server we got onto. We were just having a bit of a fun time. There's a couple of people I knew on here, Supra and Tony, and there's a couple of other people kind of hopped in. This round, because I've been playing so many public games, suddenly reminded me how awesome it is when you actually have a lot of people in you're playing with, and it sort of got me onto this idea of kind of playing different game modes, but also, as I say, the thing I want to talk about in a minute, sort of private games, just playing with friends, or sort of more private servers. But game modes, now Gunmaster was a game mode that they introduced. Yeah, knife. Gunmaster came in. Okay, we've also had obviously things like Capture the Flag, we've had Close Quarter Domination and so on. Now, we've got our classic Battlefield game modes, alright? Rush, Conquest, Conquest Assault. But what other game modes do you feel would maybe be a good thing to bring into Battlefield? Now, with Gunmaster, they obviously brought this in. Talking specifically about Gunmaster, I always personally felt it was kind of stupid that they'd made it a team game. I never understood why they made it a team game. It seems to me that it would suit free-for-all much better. It seems to sit within the sort of context of a free-for-all game mode much better than a team game mode, because in a team game mode it's already bad enough that every time you upgrade your weapon it gives you a boost, and sometimes if someone gets a little bit lucky at the beginning of a game, they run into sort of 3-4 players, maybe they pick up a few extra kills. Once they get ahead, it's very hard to come back from. Not impossible, but very hard to come back from. And I think if you're in a free-for-all situation, because it just gives you so many more targets to aim at, it's just going to sort of balance things out, and it also makes it a little bit more intense. And I feel like it's a kind of weird one to make a team game. I'm not so sure that it works. So for me, that was one thing I always thought about Gunmaster. But yeah, also Gunmaster, I never really got on board with it. I didn't think it worked particularly well as a game mode, the same as some other things don't. So I'd be interested to hear what are the kind of game modes that you would like to see retired. Which ones do you not get on with and you sort of want to see dropped out of the game? And is there any game modes in other missions, other games that you know of and enjoy that you would like to see brought into Battlefield? I'd be interested to hear from you guys. I was trying to have a little think, and I couldn't think of too many myself. I was thinking of things like, okay, obviously people have mentioned Titan, which is a game mode from 2142. It's too much for me to explain it right here, so go just check that out. I was thinking of other things. I was thinking of like maybe it'd be cool to bring in something that you could build, but a bit more tailored towards Battlefield, something along the lines of perhaps like Arsenal Demolition from Counter-Strike. That might be kind of an interesting one, because that would kind of fit similarly to sort of gun game like this, Gun Master, it would be a variation of a theme on this, and if you had the appropriate maps to do it, that could be actually a kind of an interesting one. So in essence, you'd be kind of combining something like Rush and Gun Master into one game mode like this. Again, we'd get into the parameters of how that would work, but yeah, just interested on people's ideas, sort of whether people have really sort of thought about this too much. We already know that there's going to be the classic default game modes, but I was just sort of thinking, okay, what are these extra things going to be? What are they going to, you know, potentially going to be? Oh man, I was so annoyed that I was going for the knife on Supra, which I don't do very often, but Supra's my clanmate, so I was like, come on, and then it's like, oh no. Also, he's like my challenger for sort of top of the game here. There he is, sort of Supra. Anyway, so going on from that, so basically, yeah, that's my question to you is, which game modes would you like to see taken out, and do you have any sort of astonishing ideas for new ones coming in? Moving on though, so this kind of gameplay that I had today, it just reminded me, I don't know, because I've been playing a lot of quite serious games at the moment, I've been playing Armour quite a bit. I thought, the reason I was shooting at the ground there, I thought it was still running frags, but actually it's not, it was just, it's buckshot now, so they changed that out. Yeah, I was thinking today about, because I've been playing Armour a lot of serious shooters, and obviously because in Battlefield I've been trying quite hard to sort of skill up, and, well, not really skill up, but just kind of acclimatise myself a little bit, and also kind of just getting back into the feel of these sort of larger game modes, etc., and also struggling to play in these sort of end of season public games as such. But you know, it got me onto thinking, and this is another sort of wider question to ask: do you consider public games to be even anything that you can actually enjoy nowadays? Because I don't know that I can. I have played a massive range of public games, and also when I was playing on the PlayStation, I often had like a few servers that I would go to which I knew you would generally get kind of quality gameplay to. So these were kind of like cherry picked servers that it was like, it wasn't always the same people, but it was more like the kind of people that had favorited those servers had a certain ethos that, you know, they would come there to play the objective, so you would generally get sort of better, more comfortable gameplay. Now obviously coming in new and sort of, I have got no sort of real particularly favorited servers. That I remember in game thinking that was a catastrophic fail right there. I should have just hip fired that guy down and it would have been fine. It always goes like this. Sometimes you just sort of come around the corner and you make a half-second split decision wrong. It's really annoying. But anyway, yeah, so finding servers can be quite a sort of frustrating, tricky thing, and it was so many people have been talking to today about this, sort of thinking about what to do. And I said to Supra as well, I was saying, like, do you remember like when we used to play sort of Call of Duty 4 and things like this? We rarely played public games, not really, because public games often, they leave a lot to be desired. There's too many random elements involved, there's too much confusion and just randomness, there's too many people who have either got no interest in what they're doing or just don't know what they're doing, and it all culminates to create generally a hugely unenjoyable gameplay. And I was thinking about that more today, really. I was just thinking about how much of a pain in the arse it is, and like I say, even on PlayStation, when sometimes I would be like, hey, right, I'm going to play solo, I'm going to go play solo in random public servers that I have never played in and I don't know any of the people, because this is the thing as well, it's very, very easy to construe a situation where you're going to do well for recording purposes, okay? Because two things you can do. You can either sort of just play lots and lots of rounds until you get a sort of 10-minute clip where you happen to do very well, or you can play with a bunch of people, which means that you have a significant advantage over public players. But again, not always. It depends what server you're going to. You might still get dominated. But that's a couple of things that people do. And it just got me to thinking, you know, so many public games, like I say, it's not about them being bad, it's about the fact that you have too many factors involved. You've got some people who have their own agenda, some people who are taking it seriously, some people who just maybe are new, or perhaps they're just really not on the ball, maybe they're just having a bad day as well. Either way, basically you've got a lot of sort of random factors involved that are going to, you know, lose you the kind of quality gameplay that you're perhaps looking towards, the sort of thing that I'm looking towards, the sort of gameplay that I want to get out of it. And this is the thing as well, it's a personal choice. Everybody has different things that they want to get out of the game, And some of you that might have seen some of my retweeted things this week, I was talking when I posted when I posted my breakdown of Battle Log. Oh yeah, this really sucked as well. I had a total fail moment as well, because I thought I was on the J&G, but I was on the 417, and I was like, oh jeez, because I was trying to hit him as if I had the J&G. Anyway, yeah, if you were watching, so when my Battle Log video posted, I linked it to a few DICE guys, like I do sometimes with videos, and I got a little response and a little chat that I was having with one of the multiplayer devs from Battlefield, from DICE, and we were talking about this, and he was I was saying like, okay, what can we expect from the game, etc, 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 and we were sort of just talking a little bit about that. And the thing is, when you talk to a lot of people from DICE, they really do, I mean, for all that I go on about objectives and serious gameplay and stuff, that's not really how DICE see their games. What DICE want from their games is for people to, like the guy said to me, he said, once you've purchased that game, it's your game, and you can do whatever you want with it. Meaning, if you want to run around blowing people up with C4 and pay no attention to anybody else, that's your prerogative, yeah, because it's your game. You can do whatever the hell you want with it. I gotta say, as much as I kind of dislike the idea of that, I do agree. It's people paid their money, they can do what they want with it. But as I say, that leads me on to my problem, which is that when you play in public servers, and when I have chosen to play in public servers myself before, sometimes on PlayStation or on PC, it can be, you can get lucky. You can get lucky and you can have an actually good game, but they are few and far between. It can be generally just, I would say like a good 85% of the time, it's either you're being destroyed like horrifically, or your team is destroying them and you're just rolling over them, and both of those are not enjoyable and they're not particularly constructive. They just don't build to have very, very good gameplay, and that's one of the reasons why I set up my own server in the first place, was to get away from this. And setting up my own server is not about stacking teams or anything like that. It's about building a kind of a general responsibility of playing in a certain way and getting like-minded people to come on board. And I said to Super today, I said, you know what, going into Battlefield 4, I question whether I want to play in any kind of public servers at all. And I broached the question that maybe what I'm doing is set up a server, password protected private, just for subscribers of this channel, and then we play in that respect. I don't know. Or maybe just play in my clan server, I don't know. So I'm still thinking about this idea, still thinking about this area, but I'd be interested to hear what you guys think, interested to hear what you think about sort of this kind of thing, about the gameplay, about the future, whether you think that it's impossible to get a good public server. I have played in, don't get me wrong, I have played in a lot of public servers, but I just know the pain and agony of how bad it can be. Today, for example, okay, I jumped in on Sutherland Pipeline. I was hoping to get a good bit of conquest play. What have we got? 5 base domination. 300 tickets down, my team barely able to get out of the spawn. I tried to fight back, I think I took out like a tank and I started capping one of the bases, and then I had a helicopter come in, I had a whole squad come in, there was only me and one other guy got there, and we just got wiped out. And I was just like, seriously, this is the kind of trouble that people have on public servers, and I genuinely feel people's pain. I do. Like, I feel it's just frustrating, and it must be really, I feel bad for perhaps new people coming in who maybe have not had years of experience in FPS, and they come in expecting things and they're like, oh, what the hell is this? I mean, I have got friends who play games as well. They're not, they're not sort of long term, they haven't played for like 20 years like me, or perhaps some of you guys have. They may be only gaming for a couple of years, and maybe they're only just starting to get into multiplayer now, and it disillusions them before they even get started. And I have had a couple of friends who said to me like, oh yeah, I don't want to play multiplayer because I don't enjoy it, because it's just an my friend, he said to me, he said, why would I play it? Because it's miserable and unenjoyable. He said, like, as soon as I join a game, I just get annihilated and destroyed. He was like, if I play on sort of single players and things like that, he was like, it's much more enjoyable. I can just do what I want to, and I don't have anybody to be sort of accountable to, and it's all sort of down to that person. Gotta say, I think there is something to be said for that, totally. I mean, like I say as well, when you play in random public servers, it's not like playing with a squad or a team or a clan, because when you're playing in public servers, and also to play with a team and a clan doesn't necessarily mean you have to even belong to them. You can, I mean, it's like me going into Armour. When I've gone into Armour this week, there's loads of people that I don't affiliate with or know particularly well, but they're all sort of tactical, like-minded, and therefore you still get that kind of quality gameplay that you're looking for. But that seems to be hugely lacking in Battlefield. I do think that having the voice over network feature put in to Battlefield 4 for PC is going to help a bit, because it will mean that people can actually communicate across the board. But as I say, I do feel like it's kind of lost it a bit. I always remember Battlefield being a little bit more tactical in public games, and I do feel like it's slipped quite a bit. I do remember I made a video a while back talking about this, but I still feel like it's slipped quite away. So that's really what we're thinking about there. So the two things today, guys. Game modes, alright? What game modes would you like to sort of have come in? What ones would you want to take out? And also, how do you feel about public games going into Battlefield 4? Do you feel optimistic, or are you bleakly sort of nihilistic and feel like it's sort of the end of the end? As I say, right now my kind of feeling is that with Battlefield 4, I think I'm going to lean towards playing on a server where I can get like-minded people to come to, and that doesn't mean having easy games. If anything, those games should be challenging and difficult. I want to play against people who have a decent tactical principle, but the most important thing is about having more balanced teams so that the gameplay overall is more objective and more enjoyable, because like I've said before, I'd rather have a good loss than a steamroll win, okay? Meaning I'd like to have a loss where you sort of feel like you've actually had a bit of a fight, you've had a bit of a struggle, maybe you slowed them down a bit but it didn't go your way in the end, and it's not very often you get those kind of losses on public servers. When you lose on public servers, they tend to be sort of absolute annihilations where you can't even get up off the ground, you know, it's just spawn death, spawn dead, spawn dead, and that is just agony and miserable. It's not enjoyable, and you just think, what is the point? There's no point playing in games like that. Whereas if you actually have a bit of a fight, I don't even mind losing, like I say, games where I mean, it's always going to be, you know, you never want to lose, but you'd prefer to have a kind of loss where you actually put up a little bit of a fight, you feel like you have to make them work for it at least a little bit, and then at least it's a bit of give and take, you know. But so a few things to think about there, guys, but you know, drop your thoughts below. I'd be interested to hear what you think about servers in general, public games and game modes. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time for a little bit more Battlefield discussion.